The Galactic Council meeting station floated in the darkness of space like a metal moon. Ships from 100 different worlds docked at its many ports. Inside, creatures of all shapes and sizes walked through wide hallways and gathered in great halls to discuss the future of the galaxy. Commander Lisa Grant stood at the entrance of the main council chamber, with her small crew of 12 humans behind her. They had traveled for 3 months to reach this place. Their ship, the Resolute, was small compared to the massive warships of other species, but it had carried them safely across the stars. Lisa was a tall woman with short brown hair and sharp green eyes. She had served in the Earth Defense Force for 15 years before taking command of the Resolute. She had seen many strange things in her career, but nothing had prepared her for what she was about to face. The council chamber was enormous. Thousands of seats rose up on all sides like a stadium, filled with representatives from dozens of alien species. Some had scales, some had fur, some had tentacles, and some had bodies that Lisa could not even describe. But all of them had turned to watch the humans enter. At the far end of the chamber, on a raised platform made of polished black stone, sat the Korath delegation. The Korath were the most feared warriors in this sector of the galaxy. They stood 9 feet tall, with bodies covered in thick gray scales. Their hands ended in claws that could cut through metal. Their eyes were red and filled with ancient hunger. They had conquered dozens of worlds and ruled their empire with brutal strength. High Warlord Kethrol sat on a throne made from the bones of his enemies. He was the largest Korath Lisa had ever seen, his scarred body a map of countless battles won. When he spoke, his voice rumbled like thunder. "So these are the humans," Kethrol said, his words translated by a small device on his chest. "The soft pink creatures who wish to pass through our space." Lisa stepped forward and bowed her head slightly in respect. "High Warlord, we come in peace. We seek only trading rights through your territory. We have much to offer the Korath Empire." Kethrol laughed, and the other Korath warriors laughed with him. The sound echoed through the chamber like the barking of wild animals. "Peace," the High Warlord repeated. "Trade. These are words for weak species. The Korath do not trade. We take what we want." Lisa kept her face calm, even though her heart was beating fast. "Surely we can find an agreement that benefits both our peoples," she said. "We have advanced medical technology. We have art and music that your people have never experienced. We have knowledge of distant star systems." Kethrol waved one massive clawed hand as if brushing away a flying insect. "We have no need for your medicine. Our bodies heal on their own. We have no interest in art or music. Such things are for children and fools. And we will take whatever star systems we want when we are ready." The other council representatives watched in silence. Lisa could see pity in some of their eyes. They had seen this before. The Korath enjoy humiliating weaker species before crushing them completely. Lisa looked back at her crew. Dr. Marcus Webb, her chief biologist, gave her a small nod of encouragement. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes, and he had been her friend for many years. Next to him stood her pilot, her engineer, and her security team. They were all afraid, but they trusted her. She turned back to face Kethrol. "Is there nothing we can do to prove our worth?" she asked. The chamber fell completely silent. Kethrol leaned forward on his throne, his red eyes gleaming with sudden interest. "There is one way," he said slowly. "The ancient trial. It has not been invoked in many cycles, but it is still law." A murmur ran through the assembled species. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "The ancient trial?" Lisa asked. Kethrol stood up from his throne. He was even more terrifying at his full height, a mountain of muscle and scales and barely controlled violence. "Each species brings forth their most fearsome beast," he explained. The creatures fight in the arena. Whichever beast survives, their species earns the right to pass through our space forever. Lisa felt ice form in her stomach. She had read about the Korath beast trials in the mission briefings. The Korath had a creature called the Thrax, a monster from their homeworld that had never lost a single fight. It had killed beasts from 100 different planets. It was undefeated, and if we refuse, she asked. Kethral smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Then you try to fly through our space anyway, and we destroy your little ship and everyone on it. The choice was clear. Accept the trial and probably lose, or refuse and definitely die. Lisa thought about her crew. She thought about Earth and all the humans who were counting on new trade, routes to bring resources back to their struggling planet. She thought about everything her species had survived in the millions of years it took to evolve from simple cells to starfaring people. Then she thought about something else. Earth was not a gentle world. Humans liked to pretend it was, with their cities and their technology and their comfortable lives. But beneath the surface, Earth was a planet of predators and prey, of hunters and killers, of creatures that had been perfecting the art of death since before the dinosaurs walked. Lisa smiled. We accept your challenge, she said. The Korath erupted in cheers and mocking laughter. Warriors pounded their fists against their chests. Credits changed hands as bets were placed on how quickly the human beast would die. Kethral raised one hand for silence. You have 3 days to bring your champion beast to the arena, he said. I suggest you choose carefully, little human. The Thrax has not tasted fresh meat in some time. It will enjoy your creature. Lisa bowed again, then turned and led her crew out of the chamber. The eyes of the entire galaxy followed them as they left. When they reached the corridor outside, Marcus grabbed her arm. Lisa, what are you thinking? We do not have any beast on the Resolute. What are we going to do? Lisa kept walking, her mind already racing with plans. We are going to contact Earth, she said. And we are going to ask them to send us something very special. What kind of something? Lisa stopped and looked at her old friend. There was a strange light in her green eyes, something fierce and ancient. Something that has been killing on our planet since before the Korath species even existed. Something that makes their Thrax look like a newborn puppy. Marcus stared at her. Lisa, what creature are you talking about? She smiled again, and this time it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a human who had remembered what her species truly was. Get me a secure line to the Australian Wildlife Division, she said. I need to talk to them about a crocodile. The transport ship from Earth arrived 2 days later. Lisa stood in the cargo bay of the Resolute with Marcus and the rest of her crew, watching as the massive container was loaded through the airlock. The container was made of reinforced steel, 3 feet thick on every side, with warning signs in 12 different languages. Inside the container, something moved. Something heavy. Something patient. His name is Old Mako, said the handler who had brought the container from Earth. She was a young woman named Karen Price, a crocodile specialist from the Australian Wildlife Division. He is 63 years old, 17 feet long, and weighs just over 1 ton. Marcus walked slowly around the container. He could hear the creature inside breathing, slow and deep like the rhythm of the ocean. 63 years, he said quietly. That is older than most humans live. Karen nodded. Saltwater crocodiles can live past 100 years if nothing kills them. And nothing has been able to kill Old Mako. He has fought sharks. He has fought other crocodiles. He has dragged full-grown water buffalo into the water and drowned them. Lisa pressed her hand against the cold metal of the container. Will he fight the Thrax? She asked. Karen was quiet for a moment. Commander, you need to understand something about crocodiles. They do not fight because they are angry or because they want to prove something. They fight because they are hungry. and because anything in their territory is either food or a threat. She looked at the container with a fondant mixture of respect and fear in her eyes. Old Mako has been the dominant predator in his territory for 40 years. He did not get that old by running away from challenges. When he sees the Thrax, he will not see a monster. He will see an animal that has entered his hunting ground, and he will respond the only way he knows how. The day of the trial arrived with great ceremony. The arena on Vareth Prime was a massive dome that covered an area half a mile wide. Inside, the Korath had built an artificial environment with swamps, rocky hills, dense vegetation, and winding water channels. It was designed to give neither creature an advantage, though Lisa suspected the Korath had made sure it favored their champion. Thousands of spectators filled the viewing platforms that circled the arena. Species from across the galaxy had come to watch the trial. Betting pools had grown to enormous sizes. With almost all the money placed on the Korath Thrax, Lisa stood at the human entry point with Marcus and Karen. The container holding Old Mako sat behind them, ready to be opened. "Look at them all," Marcus said, staring at the crowds. "They think this is entertainment." "It is entertainment to them," Karen replied. "They have never seen anything from Earthfight. They think our planet is peaceful because we sent them pictures of puppies and kittens." Lisa said nothing. She was watching the Korath entry point on the other side of the arena. The Korath were bringing out their champion. The Thrax was a nightmare made flesh. It stood 12 feet tall at the shoulder, with a body covered in natural armor that gleamed like black glass. 6 powerful legs carried its massive weight with terrible grace. Its head was huge, dominated by jaws filled with teeth that dripped with greenish venom. 2 tails lashed the air behind it, each one ending in a bone spike that could pierce steel. The creature roared as it entered the arena, a sound that made Lisa's bones shake. Several spectators in the crowd covered their ears or auditory organs. Even the Korath handlers looked nervous as they struggled to control the beast with their neural prods. Marcus had gone pale. "That thing is twice the size of Old Mako," he said, "and it has venom. Lisa, maybe we should reconsider this." Lisa shook her head slowly. "Size is not everything," she said. "And venom only works if you can deliver it." The arena master, a neutral official from a species called the Veleth, activated the translation system. "The trial shall now begin." His voice echoed across the dome. "Each species shall release their champion beast. The creature that survives shall grant their people the rite of passage." Release the creatures. The Korath handlers deactivated their neural prods and ran for safety. The Thrax charged into the arena, its 6 legs pounding the ground like thunder. It let out another roar, announcing its presence to everything within the dome. Lisa looked at Karen. "Open the container." Karen entered the release code. The front panel of the container slid open with a soft hiss. For a long moment, nothing happened. The spectators leaned forward in their seats. The Thrax stopped its roaring and turned to look at the human entry point. Even High Warlord Kethril, watching from his private viewing box, seemed curious about what the humans had brought. Then Old Mako emerged. He moved slowly, his massive body sliding out of the container with the patience of a creature that had never needed to hurry in its entire life. His scales were gray-green, marked with scars from decades of battles. His eyes were yellow and cold, ancient and empty of anything except hunger. A murmur ran through the crowd. This was not what they had expected. This creature was smaller than the Thrax, lower to the ground, almost primitive in appearance. It looked like something from a forgotten age, a relic from before the galaxy had learned to travel between stars. The Thrax seemed confused as well. It was used to prey that ran or prey that fought immediately. This strange creature did neither. It simply lay there, half in the water of the nearest channel, watching with those terrible yellow eyes. "What is it doing?" one of the Korath advisors asked. Kethral studied the earth creature carefully. There was something about it that made him uncomfortable, though he could not say what. "It is waiting," he said slowly. "But waiting for what?" In the arena, old Mako remained perfectly still. His brain was ancient and simple, designed for two things only: survival and killing. Right now, he was processing his new environment. The water temperature, the distance to cover, the size and behavior of the other creature. He had been doing this for 63 years. He had made these calculations 1,000 times before, and he had never lost. The Thrax grew impatient. It began to approach the crocodile, its 6 legs carrying it across the artificial terrain with predatory purpose. Venom dripped from its fangs as it prepared to strike. Lisa gripped the railing of the viewing platform so hard her knuckles turned white. "Come on, old boy," she whispered. "Show them what 200 million years of evolution looks like." Old Mako watched the approaching predator with the same patience. His ancestors had used to watch dinosaurs walk past their hiding places. He did not move. He did not blink. He simply waited. The Thrax was 20 feet away now. 15 feet. 10 feet. It lunged, and old Mako moved. The Thrax struck with blinding speed, its venomous jaws snapping shut on empty air. The space where old Mako had been a moment before was now just mud and water ripples. The crocodile had vanished into the water channel with a movement so fast that most spectators did not even see it happen. The alien predator stood at the edge of the water, confused and angry. On its homeworld, nothing escaped the Thrax once it had begun its attack. Prey animals froze in terror or ran in straight lines, making them easy targets. This low creature had done neither. Old Mako was invisible now, hidden beneath the murky water. Only his eyes and nostrils remained above the surface, watching the Thrax with the patience of deep time. The spectators in the arena were murmuring to each other. This was not how beast trials usually went. Usually, there was immediate violence, roaring and clashing and blood. This strange quiet tension was something new. High Warlord Kethral leaned forward in his viewing box. His red eyes narrowed with interest. "What is it doing under the water?" he asked. His advisor checked the scanning equipment. "The creature appears to be stationary. It is simply floating there, watching." "Watching," Kethral repeated. "Waiting." He did not like this. The Thrax was a hunter, but it preferred to hunt on land where its 6 legs gave it speed and power. The water was an unfamiliar environment. The Thrax began to pace along the edge of the water channel, its twin tails lashing with frustration. It roared again, trying to intimidate the prey into revealing itself. The sound echoed across the arena like the screaming of a dying star. Old Mako did not move. Minutes passed. The Thrax grew more and more agitated. It had never encountered prey that refused to engage. Its primitive brain could not understand an opponent that simply waited with such perfect stillness. Finally, the alien predator made a decision. It lowered its massive head to the water to drink, perhaps hoping that refreshment would calm its growing frustration. That was the moment old Mako had been waiting for. The crocodile exploded from the water with a burst of speed that defied his massive size. 200 million years of evolution had designed his body for exactly this moment. The ambush attack that had made crocodilians the most successful predators in Earth's history. His jaws clamped onto the Thrax's neck with a force that exceeded 3,000 pounds per square inch. The alien's natural armor, which had stopped energy weapons and plasma blades, cracked like eggshells under that ancient pressure. The Thrax screamed in shock and pain. It had never felt anything like this before. Nothing on its world could bite with such terrible strength. But old Mako was not finished. He began the death roll. This was the crocodile's signature killing technique, perfected over millions of years. He twisted his entire body in a spinning motion while keeping his jaws locked on his prey. The movement was designed to tear chunks of flesh from animals too large to swallow whole. Against the Thrax, it had a different effect. The alien predator was dragged into the water, its 6 legs scrambling uselessly as the crocodile pulled it into his domain. The Thrax thrashed and struggled, its armored body slamming against the crocodile's hide. But old Mako had survived battles with sharks and other crocodiles. He knew how to hold on. The spectators were on their feet now, screaming in a dozen different languages. No one had ever seen the Thrax treated like prey before. No one had ever seen it dragged beneath the water like a helpless animal. But the Thrax was not helpless in its desperation. The alien creature managed to twist its head and sink its venomous fangs into old Mako's shoulder. The paralytic toxin, which could drop a fully grown Karath warrior in seconds, flooded into the crocodile's bloodstream. Old Mako released his grip and sank. Beneath the surface, Lisa felt her heart stop. She grabbed Marcus's arm so tightly that he winced in pain. "The venom," she said. "Oh no, the venom." Karen, the crocodile handler, was watching with an expression that was hard to read. "Wait," she said quietly. "Just wait." The Thrax climbed out of the water, bleeding heavily from the wounds on its neck. Greenish-black blood poured down its armored chest. It stood on the bank and roared in triumph, believing it had finally defeated its strange opponent. In the viewing box, Kethral allowed himself a small smile. The human beast had been fierce, more fierce than he had expected. But in the end, the Thrax's venom had proved unstoppable, as it always did. Then something moved beneath the water. The Thrax noticed it too. It backed away from the edge, suddenly uncertain. The paralytic venom should have immobilized any creature within seconds. Nothing had ever resisted it before. Old Mako rose from the water. He moved slowly at first, his ancient body fighting off the effects of the toxin. But he was moving. His yellow eyes were still open, still watching, still calculating. A gasp ran through the arena crowd. This was impossible. The Thrax venom was legendary. Nothing survived it, but crocodiles were not like other creatures. Karen spoke softly to Lisa and Marcus, her voice filled with a strange pride. Saltwater crocodiles have the most powerful immune system of any animal with a backbone. They live in water filled with bacteria that would kill any other creature in hours. They survive wounds that would cause fatal infections in any other animal. Their blood contains special proteins that destroy almost any foreign substance. She watched old Mako climb onto the muddy bank, water streaming from his scarred hide. The venom hurt him, she admitted. But hurt is not the same as defeated. The Thrax was backing away now, its 6 eyes fixed on the approaching crocodile. For the first time in its life, it was experiencing something new. Fear. Old Mako moved toward the wounded alien with the steady patience of inevitability. He was not fast now, but he did not need to be fast. The Thrax was injured and bleeding. The water was old Mako's territory now, and crocodiles never let wounded prey escape. The alien predator tried to run, but its legs were not working properly. The loss of blood from its neck wounds was weakening it. It stumbled on the rocky terrain, its twin tails dragging uselessly behind it. Old Mako caught up to it near a shallow pool. He struck again, his jaws finding one of the Thrax's front legs. Another death roll tore the limb completely off in a spray of alien blood. The Thrax collapsed, screaming in agony. Old Mako did not show mercy. Crocodiles did not understand mercy. They understood only hunger and survival, and the ancient law that the strong consumed the weak. He struck again and again, each bite removing another piece of the once fearsome predator. The Thrax that had terrorized 100 worlds was being dismantled by a creature from a planet most of the galaxy had never heard of. In the stands, the spectators had fallen silent. They were watching history being made. In the Korath viewing box, Warlord Kethril was gripping the arms of his chair so hard that his claws had torn through the metal. "How?" he whispered. "How is this possible?" Lisa Grant watched from the human viewing platform, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of sadness, tears of fierce, burning pride. "That is Earth," she said softly. "That is what our planet creates." Old Mako stood over the dying Thrax, his ancient eyes empty of triumph or satisfaction. He was simply doing what his kind had always done, what they had been doing since before the first mammals. Walk the Earth, what they would continue doing long after the galaxy had forgotten the name of every species in this arena. He was surviving, and nothing in the universe was going to stop him. The Thrax was dying. It lay in the shallow water at the center of the arena, its once terrifying body broken and bleeding. 3 of its 6 legs had been torn away. Its natural armor, the impenetrable shell that had protected it through countless battles, was cracked and shattered. Its breath came in wet, bubbling gasps as its lungs filled with fluid. Old Mako circled his prey slowly, his massive tail leaving trails in the muddy water. There was no hurry in his movements. Crocodiles had never needed to hurry. They had been patient predators for 200 million years, and that patience had made them perfect. The spectators in the arena could not look away. They had come expecting entertainment, a quick victory for the legendary Thrax, followed by celebration and the humiliation of the soft little humans. Instead, they were witnessing something that would change the way the entire galaxy thought about Earth. High Warlord Kethril stood motionless in his viewing box, his massive body frozen with shock. In 300 cycles of Korath dominance, the Thrax had never been defeated. It had killed beasts from every corner of the galaxy. It had become a symbol of Korath power, proof that their species was the ultimate predator. Now that symbol was being destroyed by a creature that looked like something from a primitive swamp. Old Mako made his final move. He lunged forward and clamped his jaws around the Thrax's throat. The same killing bite that crocodiles had used to bring down prey since before the age of dinosaurs. Then he dragged the alien predator into deeper water and held it beneath the surface. The Thrax struggled weakly, its remaining limbs splashing in futile resistance. Bubbles rose to the surface of the water, fewer and fewer as the seconds passed. Then the bubbles stopped completely, and the alien champion of the Korath Empire went still. Old Mako released his grip and climbed onto a nearby mud bank. He was injured, the wound from the Thrax's venomous bite still visible on his shoulder, but he was alive. He settled into the mud and closed his eyes, letting the artificial sunlight warm his ancient scales. He had won. He had defended his territory. That was all that mattered to his simple, perfect brain. The arena was completely silent for a long moment. Then the arena master's voice broke through the shock. "The trial is concluded. The Earth creature is victorious. The humans have earned the rite of passage through Korath space." Lisa let out a breath she had been holding for what felt like hours. Around her, her crew began to cheer, hugging each other with tears of relief and joy. Marcus was laughing and crying at the same time, his scientific mind still trying to process what he had witnessed. Karen Price, the crocodile handler, simply smiled. She had known what old Mako was capable of. She had seen him hunt before, but even she was impressed by what the ancient reptile had accomplished today. "He will need medical attention," Karen said. "The venom wound should be treated, and he needs food and rest." Lisa nodded. "We will take care of him. He has more than earned it." The formal acknowledgement ceremony took place in a neutral chamber near the arena. Representatives from dozens of species, gathered to witness the humans claim their prize. Most of them looked at Lisa and her crew with new eyes now, seeing not the soft pink creatures they had dismissed before, but something else entirely. High Warlord Kethril entered the chamber last. He moved slowly, his massive body seeming somehow smaller than before. The confidence that had radiated from him during the council meeting was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like respect. Lisa stepped forward to meet him. "You have won the trial," Kethril said, his translator rendering his words in flat tones that could not hide the emotion behind them. "The passage rights through Kareth space are yours, as promised." Lisa nodded in acknowledgement, but she did not turn to leave. Instead, she looked up at the towering alien warrior with steady green eyes. "You thought we were soft," she said quietly, her voice carrying through the silent chamber. "You saw our art and our music and our kindness, and you believed our world was gentle. You thought bringing a beast from Earth would be no challenge." Kethril said nothing, but his scales rippled with discomfort. "Let me tell you about Earth," Lisa continued. "Our world has frozen solid multiple times. Massive sheets of ice covered everything, killing most life on the surface. It has been struck by asteroids that threw so much dust into the sky that the sun disappeared for years. Supervolcanoes have erupted with enough force to change the climate of the entire planet." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Every creature on Earth is the survivor of these disasters. Every animal, every plant, every microorganism has been tested by extinction events that killed 90% of all life. The weak did not survive. Only the strong. Only the adaptable. Only the killers." Lisa gestured toward the arena where old Mako was resting. "That creature in there has been hunting on our world since before your species existed. His ancestors watched the dinosaurs rise and fall. They survived the asteroid that killed everything larger than them. 66 million years later, they are still here. Still unchanged. Still perfect." The assembled representatives shifted nervously. Several of them were pulling up information about Earth on their personal devices, their eyes widening as they read about the planet's violent history. "Humans evolved on this world," Lisa said. "We survived ice ages and predators and diseases that killed millions. We watched our babies get eaten by creatures like old Mako, and we learned. We adapted. We became the most dangerous animals on our planet, not because of our strength or our speed, but because of our minds and our refusal to die." She looked directly into Kethros' red eyes. "You are warriors by choice. You became predators because you wanted power. We became survivors because we had no other option. Our planet gave us no mercy, so we learned to live without it." Kethril was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than before. "We underestimated your kind. Commander Grant, that was a mistake." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "The crocodile is not even our most dangerous beast," she said. "We have sharks that can smell a single drop of blood from miles away. We have snakes whose venom can kill 100 men. We have microscopic creatures, tiny things invisible to the eye, that have killed more humans than all our wars combined." She let that sink in before continuing. "Earth is not a peaceful world. It has never been peaceful. Every day is a struggle for survival. And the creatures that live there have been perfecting the art of killing for longer than your species has existed." Kethril slowly lowered his massive head in a gesture of respect. It was the first time he had ever shown such honor to a species outside the Kareth Empire. "We will not threaten human vessels again," he said. "And we will make sure the rest of the galaxy knows what we have learned today." Lisa bowed her head in return. "That is all we ask," she said. "Respect. Not fear, not worship. Just respect." She turned and walked back to her crew, her back straight and her head held high. The representatives of 100 worlds watched her go, all of them thinking the same thing. They had been wrong about the humans. They had been very, very wrong. The Resolute departed from Vareth Prime 3 days after the trial ended. The small human ship slipped away from the massive station and pointed its nose toward the distant light of Earth's sun dot in the cargo hold. The crew had built a special habitat for Old Mako. They had filled a large section of the bay with water at the right temperature, added mud banks for basking, and installed lighting that mimicked the Australian sun. Karen Price had stayed aboard to care for the crocodile during the journey home. Lisa found her in the cargo bay on the second day of travel, sitting on a platform above Old Mako's pool and watching him rest. "How is he doing?" Lisa asked, settling down beside the crocodile handler. Karen smiled. "Better than expected. The venom wound is healing well, and he ate half a synthetic cow this morning. He will be fine." Lisa looked down at the ancient reptile floating in his artificial swamp. His eyes were closed, his massive body perfectly still except for the slow rise and fall of his breathing. "He does not know what he did, does he?" Lisa said quietly. "He does not understand that he just changed humanity's place in the galaxy." Karen shook her head. "He knows he hunted. He knows he killed. He knows he survived. That is all that matters to him. That is all that has ever mattered to his kind." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching Old Mako rest. "What will happen to him when we get back to Earth?" Lisa asked. "He will go back to the wildlife reserve in Australia," Karen said. "He will spend the rest of his days swimming in the rivers and basking in the sun and being the apex predator of his territory. He has earned that much." Lisa nodded. "Yes, he has." On the bridge of the Resolute, Marcus was reviewing the communications that had been flooding in since the trial ended. He looked up when Lisa entered, his face a mixture of amazement and disbelief. "You need to see this," he said. Lisa sat down in her command chair and looked at the display screens. They were filled with messages from across the galaxy. "We have received trade proposals from 17 different species," Marcus reported. "All of them are offering favorable terms for human goods and services. 2 species have proposed defensive alliances. One has offered to share their advanced medical technology for free, just to establish friendly relations." Lisa scrolled through the messages, her eyes widening as she read. "This is incredible," she said. "A week ago, most of these species would not even talk to us. Now they are falling over themselves to be our friends." Marcus nodded. Word of the trial has spread faster than light. Every species in the sector has seen recordings of Old Mako defeating the Thrax. They are all asking the same question. What question? If a single predator from Earth can destroy the undefeated champion of the Korath, what else is hiding on that little blue planet? Lisa leaned back in her chair and smiled. "Let them wonder," she said. "Let them imagine our sharks swimming through dark water, waiting for prey. Let them dream about our wolves hunting in packs across frozen landscapes. Let them think about our venomous snakes and poisonous spiders and disease-carrying insects." She looked at the stars streaming past the bridge. "Windows, Earth has been creating monsters for billions of years. Old Mako is just one example. We have millions more." Marcus pulled up another display, this one showing a message from High Warlord Kethrol himself. "The Korath have issued an official statement to the Galactic Council," he said. "They are recommending that no species attempt to threaten or attack human vessels. They have classified Earth as a Class 7 death world." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Class 7? What does that mean?" "According to the Galactic Classification System, it means our planet is considered one of the most dangerous environments in the known galaxy. Harsh conditions, aggressive wildlife, extreme weather patterns, deadly diseases." Marcus shook his head in wonder. Most species would never consider colonizing a Class 7 world. It would be suicide. But we did not just colonize it, Lisa said softly. We conquered it. We became its dominant species. Exactly. And now the galaxy is starting to understand what that means. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During that time, Lisa received more messages than she had received in her entire career. Requests for trade agreements, invitations to diplomatic summits, offers of alliance and partnership and friendship. The galaxy was no longer ignoring humanity. The galaxy was paying very close attention. On the day the Resolute entered Earth's solar system, Lisa went down to the cargo bay one last time to see old Mako. The crocodile was resting on his mud bank, his ancient eyes half closed, his massive body utterly relaxed. Thank you, she said quietly, knowing he could not understand her. Thank you for showing them what we are. Old Mako did not respond. He did not know about politics or trade agreements or galactic councils. He did not know that he had changed history or that his species would be famous across 1,000 worlds. He only knew that he was warm and fed and safe. He only knew that he had hunted and killed and survived. That was enough. That had always been enough. Lisa climbed back up to the bridge as the Resolute approached Earth. The blue marble of her homeworld filled the viewing windows, beautiful and peaceful from a distance. But Lisa knew the truth now. She knew what that peaceful appearance was hiding. Beneath those blue oceans swam creatures that had been perfecting predation for millions of years. Across those green continents roamed animals that could tear apart any creature from any world. In the very air floated microscopic killers that had brought entire civilizations to their knees. Earth was not a gentle world. It was a world of survivors, of hunters, of creatures that had been tested by extinction and emerged stronger. And humans were the greatest survivors of all. Lisa watched her planet grow larger in the windows and smiled. The galaxy had learned an important lesson today. A lesson about Earth and its creatures. A lesson about humanity and its origins. They had called humans soft. They had called them weak. They had challenged them to bring a beast from their homeworld, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had unleashed something ancient and terrible and perfect. And somewhere in the cargo bay below, old Mako slept peacefully, dreaming whatever dreams crocodiles dream. Dreams of dark water and patient waiting. Dreams of prey and hunger and survival. Dreams that had not changed in 200 million years and never would. The end.